What is poppin', guys? You got your coach of the Chim Chargers here for our Week 10 GBA match versus Crimson Seabed, coach of the Detroit Steelwings, and he's a really cool dude, very nice guy who has been doing pretty well in the GBA so far with things like Crocodile and Cobalion, so should be interesting to see how we do versus him. He brings a team of Dusk Noir, Smeargle, Cobalion, Kyurem, Sylveon, and Serena, while we bring the team from yesterday's building video. So if you haven't seen that, feel free to check it out because it does give you some good insight of the team that I'm bringing, my whole thought process and whatnot. So his potential stealth rockers on his team are going to be his Smeargle and his Cobalion, and both of those could also be probable leads because Smeargle could be a lead in the sense that it could set up rocks, it can spore something on my team, and Cobalion could also be a lead because it might have stealth rocks as well. One of the two will have stealth rocks. Cobalion could have it. If it does, it probably has a volt switch for scouting purpose as well as momentum. Another potential lead could be the Serena because Serena does have access to rapid spin if he decides to predict my stealth rock lead, which is my Empoleon. He could lead Serena, spin if I try to set up rocks, or even U-turn from momentum, so that's another potential lead. As well as the Kyurem. If Kyurem is Choice Scarfed, it is going to be faster naturally than my Scarf Lando T, and you know, it could also be a lead there because it can go for a powerful attack on one of my Pokemon. So I still figure that my best lead was going to be the Landorus, just because of the fact that it outruns the majority of his team. If he's not Scarf Kyurem, it'll be able to outrun his entire team pretty much, and he's more than likely not running Scarf on his Cobalion, because he'd probably want that to be rocks or some kind of sweeper. So I figured that Lando is a great lead. He gets off an Intimidate on something. It's able to U-turn, scout out his team, sort of get me that initial momentum. And of course, the thing that I noticed in the team preview is that he did not decide to bring the Tornadus Therian, the monster known as Tornty, the big bird himself. Did not decide to bring that, so that's pretty nice there, so we don't have to deal with that. He also didn't bring his Crocodile, which means that Volt Turning is going to be so much fun, especially since he does not have an electric immunity that he brought on his team. So that's awesome there. That's one of the strategies that I have going into this game is Volt Turn is going to be pretty fun, as well as trying to get up rocks in the game. I mean, his only potential spinner is going to be that Serena, so if we're able to get up rocks, then you know, we'll be able to pressure him with our Pokemon, with our offensive Pokemon, probably try to get rid of that Serena and keep rocks on his side of the field, which does a good chunk to Kyurem every time it comes in, breaks the Smeargle Sash, so that's something we got to watch out for there. And of course, the Dusk Noir is probably some bulky Pokemon with Will-O-Wisp. I can see him running coverage like Thunder Punch and Ice Punch for Lando, so that's another thing we got to watch out for. And Sylveon, of course, it could be Specs, which will be kind of dangerous. It could also be a Cleric, which is less dangerous. So let's go ahead here, see how this match plays out, and let's go ahead and start the battle here. So my strategy basically is to wheel things down and bring in Kingdra later on to see if we can try to sweep. So let's go ahead and start this game here, see how we do, and the battle shall begin. Like I said, I figured that he'd lead off with one of his 4 potential leads, but he leads off with his Dusk Noir, which is very interesting. I did not expect that as a lead. It's still really not a problem because I do lead off with my Landorus, which is faster, able to get off the U-turn here. So I am going to go for the U-turn because this thing probably has a Will-O-Wisp attack. So he does first scout my Choice Scarf there, so it's probably obvious that I'm going to go for U-turn. I'm going to go for the U-turn here and actually go into my Empoleon. The reason is because Empoleon is not really caring about a burn or anything like that. Burn is not going to impact it too much because it's a special attacking Pokemon, so it's not really an issue there. I can actually just go ahead here on his switch out. He actually goes here into his Cobalion, and I just decide that I'm going to get up my rocks early on in the game. Stealth Rock's going to be nice to chip down his team. It's going to force him to try to rapid spin with his Serena if he does have that. So and now I'm going to go ahead and switch out here. I did not want to go directly into Landorus in case you wanted to predict that. Cobalions have a tendency of running HP Ice for Landorus Therian. So I'm actually going to go here into Pelipper to make the neutral play as he decides to go for Stealth Rock. So I'm like, okay, wait a second here. So he's a Stealth Rocking set. He more than likely is going to have Volt Switch. So I'm going to go switch out here into my Landorus now because I know that he's not going to go for HP Ice on the turn that my Pelipper is in. After revealing rocks, and he actually decides here to go for the Volt Switch, so I'm able to predict that well, and now I'm feeling that, you know, he's going to go ahead and click HP Ice here, so I'm going to make a nice play, go for the U-turn, and switch right out into my Magnezone, which is going to be able to take an HP Ice, take a Volt Switch if he tries to double Volt Switch, so it's a very safe play on my part, but it's a good play at that. He does go for HP Ice here, so we're actually able to trap this Cobalion now. He cannot switch out. We are double Scarf, so we're actually going to be able to go for the Volt Switch here, put in some nice damage, and I'm going to go right back into my Landorus Therian, expecting him not to click HP Ice on this turn. So we actually make that play pretty immaculately. After we get off this Intimidate, we can see he goes for the Volt Switch, and that's awesome because now he is in range of a superpower. The reason I did not go for an Earthquake was because I felt that he more than likely had a Shucka Berry to try to check my landers, because he had HPI, so it would make sense that he's a Shucka Berry. So I wanted to put him in range of a superpower, which we did. So we're able to knock out Cobalion, which is awesome. So Cobalion's gone, so we can defog rocks later on. He can't get back rocks at any time. So he actually goes to Serena as I decide to switch out here into my Muck, which can check it really well. He goes for the U-turn here, and judging by that damage, I'm thinking that he might be offensive Serena, because Muck is a generally bulky Pokemon, so I'm thinking he might be offensive Serena or something. But he goes into Smeargle here, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want Muck to go to sleep. I kind of need Muck to deal with his Sylveon and Serena and stuff like that. So I'm going to go here into my Empoleon, as he does try to Spore me. Now here's where an interesting play happens. So I don't want this thing to try to set up or anything like that. So he actually decides to go for the Belly Drum, and it was pretty lucky for me because I decided here, like I knew for a fact that he tried some kind of stunt like that. He brought like V-Create versus A-Drive, I think, on Smeargle. So I'm like, I don't want this thing trying to do any sort of thing versus my team. So I just decided to go for the Scald here and knock out that Smeargle as it Belly Drum. So I'm happy that we got rid of that. Really happy we got rid of that Smeargle. So that's not a problem anymore. He goes into his Dusknoir here, able to frisk out my Empoleon. So he's trying to frisk everything that I got on my team. Not bad. So I am going to go here for the Scald. We do get the burn, which is a little bit unfortunate for him, but it is a Scald burn. So I mean, that Thunder Punch didn't do much anyway, so we would have lived that either way. And now I'm just going to go ahead here, go for another Scald. Pretty much my game plan versus Dusknoir is to just damage it as much as I can. Like, I really don't mind having rocks on my side as well, like not having a chance to defog. I just want to go for Scald again. So I am just going to be spamming Scald here. As he brings in Sylveon, we get that burned as well. As I guess that one doesn't really matter too much because Sylveon is a very bulky Pokemon, and it more than likely has like Wish and stuff like that, which can heal up, or maybe a Cleric set, because I do see leftovers. So I am going to take burn damage as he also takes burn damage as well. Now I can take this as an opportunity to go for defog because Sylveon cannot knock me out, because I know for a fact that he's a defensive Sylveon with leftovers. He goes for the Wish here, so I'm able to defog, get rid of the rocks from my side, and I do have a chance to actually set up rocks on his side now, because I really enjoy Empoleon because it's able to have that potential to defog and get up rocks right after the following turn. So we are able to get rid of rocks, set back up rocks once again, so rocks remain on his side, which is amazing. He is going to go for the Hyper Voice here, and as you can see, we are able to live that really well. And he does get his Wish back, so he's going to be able to heal up back to full health here. But of course, taking that little bit of burn damage, which, I mean, it's a little bit annoying, I guess, if you're trying to recover your HP, but not really that impactful. But I am going to go for the Scald here once again, as he's going to go for the Wish. And now I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he might have Protect on this thing. Well, maybe he'll probably go for Protect on, my potential Scald, trying to get up his health so that I don't damage him further, because that burn damage plus the Scald damage, because I am now in Torrent range, so it could be a little bit annoying for him. So he's gonna go for the Protect here, as I actually whip out the nice Roar, which actually does go through the Protect and phase him out into his Serena, which I guess is kind of a little bit of an issue, because if my Empoleon was still alive, he would have been able to Rapid Spin if he did have it. So I'm actually going to go down to this burn, fortunately enough. So the burn kind of saved me there. So he wouldn't get a Rapid Spin kill and get rid of rocks if he had like Rapid Spin or anything like that. So I'm going to go to Muck here, which if he does have Rapid Spin, he'd probably want to go for it. But he goes for a Trap Kick. So I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. Serena is not going for Rapid Spin, getting rid of rocks. So I can get out this nice Poison Jab here. We don't get the poison from Poison Touch, which is a little unfortunate, but he goes for another Chop Kick, lowering my attack, and I'm just deciding here to click Poison Jab once again. He doesn't really have a Poison Jab switch in, as now we actually do get the poison. I mean, it's like I think it's a 55% chance to poison with Poison Jab with Poison Touch abilities, so that's nice. We were able to get rid of that. It was in our favor. So he is actually going to go here into his Dusknoir, which is burned and stuff like that. So I'm expecting him to want to go for the Earthquake. Once again, he's frisking me out once again, so he knows that I'm a Assault Vest, not Figy Berry. So I'm going to switch here into Pelipper, expecting the Earthquake from this Dusknoir, because I saw Thunder Punch. He's more than likely having Earthquake for stuff like Magnezone as well as Muck, and we are able to predict that immaculately here. And now what I can do is expect him to want to go for a Thunder Punch, so I am going to go for the U-turn. And I can go ahead here, U-turn out into something safe like my Magnezone, which appreciates, it doesn't really care about a burn from Will-O-Wisp, which is what he goes for. Doesn't take damage from Thunder Punch or Ice Punch, and he wouldn't go for Earthquake on a Pelipper at all. So I do get burned here, but at this point in time, he has a Dusknoir, he has a Sylveon, and a Kyurem, which all died of Flash Cannon. So I'm going to go ahead and here and click Flash Cannon on this Dusknoir, being able to knock it out. He has Sylveon and Kyurem left. I don't think he'd bring Kyurem just yet unless he's Scarfed. So he actually decides to bring his Sylveon, which leads me to believe that he's not a Scarfed Kyurem, as my Magnezone would be faster and would be able to take it out. He goes for a Protect here, I guess trying to stall out my my burn damage. so that maybe his Kyurem can come in later on and I guess knock me out. So as you can see, I am getting whittled down little by little with that burn, as he's not being able to recover anything because of his burn on the burn damage on his side. So I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon here, and he's actually able to live that pretty well, so he must have EV'd this thing in some Spadef to be able to take Flash Cannons from Magnezone, from Scarf Mag. So he's going to go for the Wish here, and expecting him to want to Protect in order to get back up his health. I am going to, after this burn damage here, I am going to expect him to go for Protect and switch out into my Muck, which is AV, Assault Vest Muck. And it's going to be able to eat this Sylveon up, as you'll soon see. He's going to go for the Protect here, heal up, and he's actually, I think before he even attacks me, he's going to go for the Protect once again. And I'm not really too sure why he goes for, so as you can see, like right here, he goes for Protect. I guess he was trying to stall out a turn, trying to figure out what I'm going to do or something if I'm going to over predict, which obviously I don't have to because Poison Jab hits both the Sylveon and the Kyurem. But I guess that was kind of a useless turn since it didn't really do much. It didn't heal him or didn't really change the game. But he goes for a Hyper Voice here, as I am able to live that. Go right for this Poison Jab here and knock out the Sylveon. Last Pokemon that he has is that Kyurem, so it's time to see what kind of Kyurem set this is. I mean, I am in with my Muck, so I am like pretty much invested in almost max attack, so whatever he has on that Kyurem, I mean, if he has like goes for sub or something, Muck can break that, but he actually is an Outrage Kyurem, so could be Banded, could be Scarfed, I'm not sure, just by seeing right now, because of course Muck is obviously slower than both of those sets. So I'm going to go here into Magnezone, as he's actually Scarfed. He's actually Scarfed Outrage Kyurem, and I can go ahead here for the Flash Cannon. He does get confused. Can go for this Flash Cannon and knock out that Kyurem, and that is going to be GG. It is Emvee. So like during this entire match, I was trying to think what was that Kyurem, what was that Smeargle trying to baton pass into? Like looking at his team, like pretty much Cobalion was gone, Dusknoir was burned, so I was thinking to myself like, what is he trying to pass the Belly Drum into? And then I noticed like, okay, wait a second, his Kyurem went for Outrage, so he must have been trying to baton pass in a Kyurem, which would have done a good amount of work versus my team if we didn't read that he was trying to go for a setup move there. Like I didn't want to defog my hazards away when Smeargle was in, just in case he was some setup set, because I saw Stealth Rocks was on the Cobalion, so I was thinking to myself like, wait a sec, okay, so if Stealth Rocks is on Cobalion, if he's a Spore Smeargle, what does he have? Like I don't think it's going to be Sticky Web, but if it is Sticky Web, then like what other moves does he have? So it was a good catch there, because if he was able to baton pass out into Kyurem, that would have been extremely annoying. So but thankfully, I mean, even if he did baton pass into Kyurem, then our Kingdra is still faster than a Banded Kyurem. Our Kingdra in the rain is still faster than not Banded, sorry, Scarfed Kyurem with max attack. Our Kingdra's still faster, so it was a very solid game. He played it really well, and I mean, we've already clinched playoffs, I think, since last week, so that's nice. We are just gonna be bringing some fun stuff and seeing how we do. Like this was a pretty fun team. Didn't bring that Figgy Berry Muck as you saw, so that's awesome. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to check out Crimson's channel, of course, which does have the match from his point of view. So that should be pretty fun to watch as well. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.